Hello everybody, this is Michael for Imperialis. Earlier today I put up a video showcasing my Imperial Army, which is these guys over here. And I said in that video I was either going to do another showcase video or an analysis video for the Imperial Guard. And I've decided I'm going to do an analysis video, put it up tonight, and then do a showcase video at a later date for my friend's Chaos Army. So in this video particularly, I'm going to analyse the basics of an Imperial Guard army. So that would be your HQ and your two troop choices. After that, we'll see what the time looks like, and I'll probably analyse the rest of the troops, as well as possibly the elite section. Let's see how we go. Right, so we go through some very nice images and background in this codex. So I do recommend you get a codex, have a thorough read, the background and the units, and see what you can use. Okay, primary HQ choice you'll probably take is the company command squad. 50 points basic, 5 guys, including a commander. Their stat line is strong. It's ballistic skill 4, weapon skill 4 on your commander, decent leadership, and generally not bad. Your commander has a refractor field, which is good. You can issue orders and take a chimera if you need to keep them alive. You have a variety of weapon options just for your commander. I generally don't use them because I don't want him getting anywhere near the fighting. A bolt gun is probably the best I could think of. The medipack is situational. If you expect your command squad to get shot at a lot, it could be worth it. If you're expecting a lot of strength 6 fire, don't bother, because you would just ignore the feel no pain. You get the regimental standard. That's good because it keeps your units around you less likely to run away. I like it. I do take it most of the time, but in small point games it may not be worth it. The Voxcaster, never leave home without it. It's the best thing you can do. Your orders will go a lot easier. Heavy Flamer, only use if you expect to get into melee. Honestly, I don't generally. Heavy weapons, you need to keep your command squad relatively mobile if you're going to issue your orders effectively, particularly if you go with the Chimera. So I don't generally use them. Special weapons, similarly, situational, probably a plasma gun perhaps to keep them mobile but still have some firepower. I would recommend, however, carapace armor. Maybe 20 points, but 4 plus armor or 5 plus armor, you go from 1/3 chance of living to half a chance of living, and that's good odds in anybody's book. You can also take for them regimental advisors. They're all equipped in the same way. They cost 30 points apart from the bodyguard, who costs 15, but you can take 2 of them, so it's the same cost. The astropath, great if you're a reserve orientated person. You're going to need it because you might need your reserves to come in a turn earlier than you rolled, so add 1 to the roll and boom, your reserves are in. The officer of the fleet will hold your opponent up, -1 to his reserve rolls. If he's a Tyranid player who's running all new flyers, or Necrons who run the air cav, or another guard player actually, this is a good one to have. The bodyguard I haven't used, so I can't give a full analysis on him, but I do think he has his place because he's not that expensive, and it's another body to get through to kill your commander. The Master of Ordnance, great range, great strength, great AP, great blast, but very situational, and there's a good chance of scattering, so unless you're dropping it in the middle of a horde, it's probably not the safest bet. In terms of upgrades to a command squad, you have Creed. He is 90 points, so it's rather expensive. Twin link hotshot las pistol, which is good. AP 3, but again situational. Refractor field, same as your commander. You can issue more orders with a longer range. This is good. He also has his own special order, but I don't think it's that good. It's more about getting guard into combat, which is never a good idea. Tactical genius. Now this is a useful little rule. You can give one of your units scout. Do that, you can have Russes coming in on the flank, and that's never a bad thing. But he is expensive. He more than pretty much trebles the cost of your command squad alone. Colour Sergeant Kell, same-ish problem. You can't take another banner because he has one. He also has 2 different combat weapons. Again, I wouldn't bother with him because yes, he's good in combat, and yes, he makes orders easier to do, but again, situational. It's hard to get because he's expensive and all he's doing is making orders easier. So not for me. On the other hand, Strachan, Iron Hand Strachan. This stat line is the best stat line in the Guard Codex by 100 miles. Weapon skill 5, strength 6, toughness 4, 3 attacks, which is the same as you'd expect, and a 3 plus armor save. No guardsman has that stat line. No commander has that stat line. Plus, he has, let's see, Furious Charge. He also has Fearless. That's including Gung Ho. He can also give everyone in 12 inches counterattack and Furious Charge, which is great. He ignores armor saves, and he rolls extra for armor penetration. This guy is worth every point. He can still issue orders, and when I get onto Commissars, I'll explain why he's so useful with his being fearless. And he still has a refractor field and a plasma pistol, so he's hard to kill. Nork Dead Dog, he's even more expensive, but you can't take bodyguards if you take Nork, but he's a lot better than a bodyguard if you just look at that stat line. Yes, he's an ogre, and yes, he's a low leadership, but generally he's pretty good. He's hard to kill. He'll attack back if he's killed. Feel No Pain on Ogrin is nasty, has his Furious Charge. That's about it on them. Turning over, we have the Lord Commissar. Now, this is probably the second best stat line you'll find. Weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 5, leadership 10. Option for carapace armor for 10 points and some good weapons. His problem is down here. Summary execution. This in a command squad is a disaster because he'll shoot your commander if you fail the morale check. And if that happens, you've got no orders. And that is really what you don't want. So this is where having someone like Colonel Strachan comes in handy. Because he's fearless, can't fail a morale check, can't get shot. It's just a force amplifier. Whoops, wrong page. So he's quite useful. And everyone within 12 inches of him is leadership 10. His squad can't take negative modifiers. This is good. Commissar Yarrick is very, very expensive. He's 2.5 times the cost of a Commissar. Then again, he has a power fist. He's hard to wound in combat because you have to reroll to wound against him. Bale Eye is a hotshot las pistol. He also has a storm bolter, carapace armor, refractor field, I think. No, hang on. He hasn't got a refractor field. I'd expect him to have one. But Aura of Discipline, same as up here. Everyone within 12 inches is fearless, I think. I'll have to check that again. Iron Will means you can get back up after you kill him on a 3-up, which is good. He also can't be insta-killed, thanks to Eternal Warrior. That's a very nice rule to have, especially when you're only toughness 4. The last one is the Primaris Psyker. Same cost as the Lord Commissar. So I wouldn't run him because there's a lot of risk of perils and the powers aren't that amazing. He's good as a backup HQ, but if it was me, I would probably run a command squad with a variety of upgrades and Strachan if I had the points. Failing that, I would run a Lord Commissar because he's cheap and he's powerful. These two are HQs, but they don't take up a HQ slot. You can take 5 Ministorum, 2 Vengeances. These guys are built for combat. They make your units better at combat, rerolls to hit thanks to Righteous Fury, and they can take Power Fists for 15 points. No other army can do that. And they're 4 invulnerable. They only have 1 wound and toughness 3, so they can be killed, but they're a nice little multiplier for 50 points. Tech Priests, yes, they have 3+ armor save. Yes, they have power weapons, but no, don't get them anywhere near a melee because they'll die. So hide them at the back. That's what they're there to do. Survive. Fix your vehicles. Servitors, you can take up to 5. I'd probably say 1 or 2. Keep the servo arm so they can do the job properly. Otherwise, they're not really worth it. I'm running out of time here. Troops. In troops, you have the infantry platoon. This is quite complicated and unique. You have a platoon command squad, which is similar to a company command squad, just missing a few upgrades. The 2 to 5 infantry squads, your basic guys, which are good, and you can have a load of different options: special weapons, heavy weapons, heavy weapon teams, which are like the heavy bolter team I showed you in my other video, which is this guy. You can take up to 5 teams of 3 of these, or you can attach them to your infantry squads. Special weapon teams and conscripts. I'll just discuss the infantry platoon and then I'll leave it there. So the platoon command squad is very similar. It's got a worse stat line, as in it's only BS3 rather than 4 because they're regular guardsmen instead of veterans. Beyond that, they're near identical to company command squads, but there's a few worse options. Instead of a regimental, you have a platoon standard, so you lose the morale boost. You just get +1 to combat resolution. So therefore, I would say leave the platoon standard at home. All these down here are very similar. They don't get carapace armor either. So again, maybe your special weapon because you're going to be getting close. Perhaps a power weapon. I wouldn't do any more than that with them. Let's see. Commander Chenkov. Very situational, needs conscripts, encourages killing your own men. That's all I really need to say about him, and it costs 75 points to use his special rule. So I wouldn't take Chenkov. Al Rahem, slightly more expensive, but he gives his entire platoon outflank. He has a power weapon that causes instant death, plasma pistol, some good orders, first rank fire, and bring it down, which are two very good orders to have. 2 wounds, unlike a normal commander. So he's worth taking if you have the points spare, but again, very situational and probably going to kill his whole platoon by doing it. The infantry squad. This is quite simple. Don't take many special weapons, especially if you're blobbing, which is the 40k term for merging the squads instead of being 2 squads of 10 into 1 squad of 20. It's a nice idea, it works beautifully, but the more special weapons you take, the more points add up, believe me. Foxcaster, as over here, and with the other command squads, if there's a Voxcaster to take it. Trust me, it's a brilliant idea. Heavy weapon teams. 2 ways of using these, as I said already. If you put them on their own, you risk them doing nothing because they can't be issued orders, or they can, but they don't have a Vox. So they're a little bit situational. In squads, the squad loses maneuverability, so are less likely to go and claim objectives, but they're better at protecting them. Special weapon teams are your kamikaze unit. They won't do much, but if they do stuff, it'll be damage, and they're cheap. 50 points after you've paid for the extra upgrades. Conscripts, again, very similar. Worse stat lines than Guardsmen by a lot, but they're a point cheaper, which, when you're taking a lot, really adds up. The next wave means you can kill the unit and then bring it back, but you need A, Commander Chenkov, and B, I'm going to be honest, not a lot of common sense to do that. So that's the infantry platoon. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to leave it there. I'll analyse excuse me, the rest of the troops, so that'll be veterans and Penal Legion, and I'll have a look at the Chimera in another video, and I'll also take a look at the elite section in the next one. If you enjoyed the video or have any questions, comment, like, favourite, subscribe. That was my first video on guard analysis, and I'll see you again.